Hey guys, welcome back to Psychic Celluloid Signals. In today's episode, I'm really excited to be doing Blu-ray Benn's Simple Movie Tag, and I apologize if for some reason the camera looks slightly tilted one way or any other weird problems with the camera because I forgot my tripod in Glenn's car. We did a couple interviews, which you'll probably have already seen when this comes out. But anyways, let's just dive into this with question 1. What is your favorite and least favorite film? Well, I recently made a video entry for a contest Casher1 was doing of my 5 favorite movies. And in that, I kind of mentioned that I don't really have any top favorite movie or even top 5 favorite movies. I just got a ton of movies that I really like. So you could check out that video to see some of the ones that I really like, but there are just so many others that I could have put in that video, like Leaving Las Vegas, SLC Punk. Well, that was in the video, but it was kind of like a little bonus one. But there's just so many other things I could have put in there, but I had to just narrow it down to 5. So check that out if you want to see 5 films that I really like. And the other part of this question is least favorite film. Again, I don't know if I have a single least favorite film, although there aren't too many that I hate because I like to see the good things in films. But there was one film, least favorite film I've ever seen in theaters, I think was The Last Witch Hunter, I believe it's called, with Vin Diesel. That was just terrible. The problem is that movie, it just starts out basically telling you, okay, the protagonist is invincible. So there's no worries in this action movie. There's no action because even though he's doing action-y things, there's no risk. There's none at all. So you just go into it and not care at all because you know he's going to make it out in the end. He's probably going to be successful, and whomever he's going up against is pretty much screwed. So that is my answer to number 1. Number 2, who is your favorite actor and actress? My favorite actress is probably Debbie Harry from Blondie, which sounds weird, being she's known more as a singer, but I thought her role in Videodrome was incredible. I also liked her role in Tales from the Dark Side, and I'm just a huge fan of Debbie Harry and Blondie in general, so that was a pretty easy pick for me there. And as far as actor goes, that was pretty easy as well. I chose Malcolm McDowell. He's in one of my favorite films that I listed in my entry for Casher1, A Clockwork Orange, and he's also in another favorite film of mine, If, which is a great lesser-known film that I did a Criterion of the Month on. He's also in the sequels to If, Oh Lucky Man. He's in Britannia Hospital. He's in Time After Time, which I thought was awesome as well. He's even in things like the remake of Halloween. I thought he did an excellent job on, even though I thought the film as a whole wasn't that great. I'm one of those guys who thought that film wasn't that great. But I thought he had an awesome part, and when I was watching that, that was pretty much what I tuned in for. All the rest of the film, I got pretty bored, but thought he did an excellent job acting in that. So, that's my answer to number 2. All right, question 3 is, who's your favorite director? And I'm sure all of you who watch my content regularly already know David Cronenberg. I think all of his films are excellent, and I think, yeah, I've seen all of his feature films, a lot of his shorts. I think all of them are excellent, which is pretty incredible, and they're all just, most of them are among my favorite films. Well, really all of them, I'd say, are among my favorite films, yeah, that's a pretty easy choice for me. So David Cronenberg for number 3. All right, question 4. What is your favorite movie genre? Well, I have two main favorite kind of categories in film. I don't know if either would be considered a genre, but firstly, I really love surrealism, which is more of an art movement than a genre. But for instance, Eraserhead would probably fall under like the horror genre, but it's also a very surreal film, as I'm sure anyone who's seen it knows. Um, and you also have like comedies like The Bed Sitting Room, which is a very funny movie, but also very surreal in its own right. And films that are more like almost dramas, like The Dance of Reality, which is also quite a surreal film as well. Um, and my other favorite kind of category of film is body horror. So obviously stuff like Videodrome and a lot of other David Cronenberg films. Then you got a lot of like Henenlotter films, of course, like Brain Damage or Basket Case or Frankenhooker. And then even I really liked Altered States. That was another great body horror film. So those are two just kind of categories of films that I really like. One being more of a subgenre, the other being like an art movement. So those would be my two favorite genres, I guess you could say, of film. Question number 5. What is my favorite horror movie? Now, I've already mentioned like several horror movies so far, but I'll mention more of like a popular horror movie, something that a lot of people will think of when they think horror movies, which is among my favorite horror movies as well. So that would be Nightmare on Elm Street, specifically 1 and 3. Although I thought one of the other things that I really like about Nightmare on Elm Street is, as a whole, is that the franchise itself, I feel, is the strongest franchise in horror films that I've seen that comes to mind. Like, personally, I didn't think the Friday the 13th or Halloween or Hellraiser, Child's Play, and I know a lot of people will probably hate me for saying all of that, but I haven't even seen all of them. In fairness, I just got to a certain point in each of those franchises that I was like, the quality just keeps going down, and I don't want to see any more. But with Nightmare on Elm Street, I didn't feel that way, even though the quality does take a nosedive. I still found all of the films very watchable. So, for number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street. All right, question 6. What is your favorite animated movie? So for this question, I decided to just go with like a straight animated movie, nothing like some animation, some live action. And I chose two, Alice in Wonderland and Nightmare Before Christmas. They're both excellent films, and I think both of them I really got into in my adulthood, which is interesting. I know a lot of people probably mention things that they really got into in their childhood, but those were two films that have more recently become like my favorite animated films. So that's question number 6. All right, question number 7. What is your favorite soundtrack and or score? Well, I've got a ton for this because I just love really good music in movies. So, for instance, SLC Punk has excellent punk rock soundtrack, and I really like punk rock music. So, if you're into punk rock music, I'd check this film out. The music is incredible. Everyone knows the music is incredible in Halloween as well. Don't need to just like go into that. But I've got a bunch of LPs here that are just a bunch more excellent soundtracks and scores, so I'll show those. Got Barry Lyndon. Barry Lyndon's got some excellent kind of classical music. I really like to listen to it when I'm just like doing things around the house. And then I got The Big Lebowski, as everyone knows who's seen it. It's got some great stuff. And then to bring us back to some more punk rock, Sid and Nancy. I'm a huge fan of the Sex Pistols and Sid Vicious, so I really liked this one. It's got other like great stuff, like it's got a couple songs from my favorite musician, Joe Strummer, so this was just an awesome soundtrack. And then another Stanley Kubrick film, Clockwork Orange. That again, just the classical music is awesome. I can like put it on, go do things around the house, and also be reminded of the movie. So it's got like multiple benefits. And then Easy Rider is another one that I love. Just all the music on it is great, and it puts you right in the moment of the movie. Makes you feel like you're back in that time. Um, and I hope all of these LPs are fitting into the screen. Um, yeah, the tripod situation is making it a little hard to figure this stuff out. So that's my answer to question 7. All right, question 8 is, what is your favorite cinema or theater experience? Now this one, unlike a lot of my others, I actually do have one answer. So that would be when I went to see 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was an incredible experience because not only was it being played at the Dryden Theater, which is a place we've done, I'm sure by the time this comes out, our interviews will be released on our channel as well. So we did a couple interviews there, but I think the Dryden is honestly one of the best places in the world to just go see film because they get like really high quality prints of films, and they just make the experience incredible. So anyway, I went to the Dryden with Glenn, and we got to meet the main actor in 2001: Space Odyssey, Kier Juella. I probably butchered his name, but he's a very awesome guy. We got to get a picture sign, as you can see here, and he did a Q&A afterwards and spoke a little bit before the film. And, of course, we got to see the film itself, this really awesome print that they projected. So that is, without a doubt, my favorite film experience in a theater. Question 9, what is your favorite guilty pleasure movie? Well, this is, to preface it, I don't know if I ever consider like any of the movies that I watch guilty pleasure movie because uh, I just watch a bunch of goofy movies and movies that nobody's heard of. So I'm sure someone could look through my movie library and say, oh, half of these are like guilty pleasure movies. But I know a lot of people, a lot of people are not fans of this movie. I actually haven't even watched it in a long time, but when I was a kid, I watched the crap out of it. And I did see part of it recently, and though I do recognize now that it's not a well-made film, it's very cheesy, um, and it's just all around not great from a technical point of view. I think it's probably still something that I'd like watching just because of the memories alone. So that's Ghost Rider. Yep. Shame me down below. But yep, Ghost Rider. I'm sure it's a terrible film, but I've got a lot of memories of watching this. This disc actually is probably about given up. It's got so many scratches on it because that's how much I watched it. Just watched it all the time. So that is my guilty pleasure movie, I guess. And the last question, question number 10. What is your favorite foreign film? Now, for this, I thought I could either go one of two ways. I could either look at it like foreign film just anywhere outside of the US, so I could pick something like, obviously, you probably guessed it, Videodrome, or A Clockwork Orange, for example. But I also thought maybe this question could look at like foreign language films where I could say something like L'Age d'Or or The Holy Mountain, both of which are not even in English. So those are a lot more foreign feeling than like A Clockwork Orange, which a lot of people would contest that's not even a foreign film because the director was American, but it wasn't made here, so I kind of see it as a foreign film. And Videodrome is a foreign film because it was made in Canada, but Canada's, like, the accents aren't very different than the U.S., and it's English language. So I figured these two would be some good picks as well because they're in a foreign language, so they feel very foreign, and they're very awesome films as well. Check them both out if you get the chance. All right, guys, that does it for the questions. Sorry about the quality of this video because it's probably going to be crappily edited together because I had to keep getting up and grabbing more films and coming back. And I also had some takes that just didn't work out. So hopefully this will be somewhat smooth video, but sorry if it's not. Also sorry for giving multiple answers to a lot of these questions. As you guys know, I'm a lover of movies in general, so it was really hard to narrow a lot of them down to just one thing. Because I don't know, I just don't have any like favorite film, for example, or something like that. So thanks for bearing with me. Also, thank you very much to Blu-ray Benn for making these questions and for tagging my channel. And I'll tag somebody else, at least someone, maybe a couple people. I'm not sure who yet, so I'll leave that in the description below. Anyone, feel free to make a video with these questions as well. Spread the word of the tag. And with that, I'll say keep it psychic and keep it real.